वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः दयाकरं दयाकारं दान्तं धर्मप्रवर्तकं प्रणमामि दयानन्दं मदाचार्यवरं परम् ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ गं गणपतये नमः ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः Hari Om to all. You will be watching this in live in UK and Europe this evening, and we have some live students here also. So I may be again looking around, but please don't worry. I'm also focused on people online as though I see you. So we are on chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. We are beginning our third chapter of this crash course in Gita. And chapter 3 is a continuation of chapter 2. This is the beauty, when you study Gita at this pace, you see the connections between the verses, and you can see how Bhagavan is unfolding the knowledge to Arjuna. So chapter 3 is actually taking the verses from verse 47 in chapter 2, the verses covering Karma Yoga. Bhagavan elaborates in the whole of this chapter. So in Krishna had praised this Jnana Yoga in the second chapter, and he had said, Jnanameva mokshaha, that this knowledge alone can give this liberation. He had said, not in so many words, but he had said this, the gist of it. But now in chapter 3, he talks about why we should act, we should act in life, with what attitude we should act. And this is the most important aspect of Karma Yoga, the attitude. The yoga in Karma Yoga is all to do with the attitude. So how do we perform our worldly, and also at that time he brings in chapter 3 also some religious duties also. So chapter 3 actually begins with the doubt from Arjuna. Each chapter is like that. Arjuna will always have some doubt, and then he starts the next chapter with that doubt. He has obviously heard chapter 2 very, very well. But his thinking here now is that Krishna has praised Jnanam, this knowledge, self-knowledge, throughout the second chapter. I have understood from Krishna's teachings that Jnanam releases us from the ocean of samsara, the ocean of becoming, the ocean of sorrow and delusion. And there is no grief for one who has this knowledge. So Jnanam has been praised by Krishna in the second chapter. But at the same time, what does Krishna encourage Arjuna to do? Do karma. He says Jnanam is the greatest. But again, he says do karma. So Arjuna is a little confused with this. Yudhyasva, fight. Kuru karma, do activity. This is how he begins with his confusion, his question, the third chapter. He says, Arjuna uvacha. We can all chant together if you have. Arjuna uvacha. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohayasiva me tadekam vadanishchitya Yena shreyo hamapnuyam. So Bhagavan, he says here, karmana, Arjuna says, karmanaha buddhihi jayasi chet, tava mata. So what I understood, in your vision, I understood that knowledge was greater than karma. This is the second chapter teaching. But what is his doubt? Kim ghore karmani mam niyojasi Keshava. O Lord, O Keshava, why then am I advised to do this cruel action of fighting this war, involving such killing? Because Vedic teaching is what? Ahimsa paramo dharmaha. In the first chapter, he had brought in a lot of excuses not to fight the war. He had wanted to retire from the battlefield. But he says, I am very confused. Oh, Krishna. And the way he says it, Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhim mohaya siva me. He doesn't say, you are confusing me, Krishna, with your words. This is the beauty of the student-teacher relationship. He gives Krishna the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I've not understood you properly. Maybe I've not understood what you're conveying. So he says, you seem to confuse me. You as though confuse me. So the key word here is iva. Iva means as though. It seems like you're confusing me, but I don't really understand what you're saying. So Arjuna takes the blame for not understanding clearly. He doesn't blame the teacher. So he tells, he's asking, tell me one thing. So my doubt is clarified. What is that one thing? Tadekam vadanishchitya. After giving a lot of thought, please tell me definitely, please clarify my doubt so it doesn't keep coming back in my head. Yena shreyo hamapnuyam. What is most beneficial for me in life? What is the most beneficial course of action for me? This beautiful word Shreyas. Shreyas means moksha, actually. So really, he's asking, what is the most conducive path to take in order to discover moksha? See, the first doubt he had in the first chapter was what? He was confused about dharma. What is the right thing to do and what should I not do? Here, now he has become a mumukshu. You can see his growth as a student in this second chapter. He is asking what is conducive for me to discover moksha. So Krishna has converted him in the first chapter itself, and in the second chapter, he has become a mumukshu. Ekam here, when you say ekam vadanishchitya, there are no two things for comparison here. Arjuna, this is the confusion. He thinks jnanam and karma can be compared, but there are no two things actually for comparison. So suppose you're trying to reach a place. You can take two routes to reach the place. So I can take a shorter route, longer route. If you look on the sat nav, right, they will have fastest route, eco route, shortest route, different routes to the one location. Here, this jnanam and karma are not different routes to one location. That is where Arjuna is making the mistake. In this case, one leads to the other. So this is the key here. Bhagavan now will explain the role of karma yoga, The Karma Yoga lifestyle actually leads to this Jnana Yoga lifestyle. So he wants Arjuna to actually clear his own doubt. This is the beauty of Gita. Krishna doesn't really tell him, you do this, this is good for you, this is the best for you. Of course, he tells him, get up and do what is to be done. But he gives him the teaching to help him make his own decision. He wants Arjuna to decide where he is on the spiritual pursuit. And this is also very telling, because who knows me best? Does my neighbor know me best? Does my best friend know me best? Does my mother, father know me best? No, in fact, you know yourself best. You are the best pramana for your own self. You know what level you are at. You know, are you ready to take to ochre clothes and renounce the world and run off? This is what Arjuna wants to do. He wants to bhikshacharyam. He wants to go off and run off to the forest and beg for alms. But the teacher here helps him look into himself to choose his own route to moksha depending on where he finds himself. So, in fact, there are two lifestyles now that Krishna brings in with this very important third verse. It is not really, honestly speaking, it is not that we choose the lifestyle chooses us. It automatically becomes part of our life. We don't even have to make efforts. And what the key is, both lead to moksha alone eventually. Whether you take to one lifestyle or the other, it doesn't matter, depending on what is needed. It's like the medicine that's needed at that moment. You consume that medicine, you know that is going to cure you of that disease eventually. So how does Arjuna want to get there? Krishna gives him choice now. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin Dvividha Nishtha Pura Prokta Mayanagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam Asmin Loke Dvivida Nishtha Pura Prokta Maya. So the twofold committed lifestyle has already been discussed by me before. Where? He has discussed in Upanishads. Krishna is talking about all the knowledge he has revealed before Gita. Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads after all. And Krishna is the one, the truth, who has revealed the Upanishads to the rishis also. So he says here, there are two lifestyles. Nishtha means committed lifestyles. So it is not just lifestyles that, you can just take up willy-nilly, as we say in English. It is a commitment that we need. And both have a common goal. What is that goal? Moksha. Very clear. So the first is pravritti. Pravritti, which is an outer-directed lifestyle. It is an outward-going lifestyle, which is suitable for the majority, also suitable for Arjuna. And that lifestyle requires a lot of activity. This is the Karma Yoga lifestyle. And the second is Nivritti Marga, which is the sannyasi lifestyle, a life of more withdrawal, taking yourself out of roles, taking yourself out of duties and responsibilities for the exclusive pursuit of Atma Jnanam. So Bhagavan says, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. This lifestyle of Jnana Yoga is recommended for a sannyasi or renunciate, and the Karma Yoga lifestyle is recommended for others, those in the world. Does it mean for all those in the world? No, because there has to be a specific qualification for this Karma Yoga lifestyle. What is that? A Karma Yoga yogi is a mumukshu, one who is desirous of freedom. There is no secular Karma Yoga here. Mumukshu, that moksha icha, that has to be very clear in a Karma Yogi's mind. So he says here, this nishtha, committed lifestyle, yoginam for people other than sannyasis, Karma Yoga for mumukshus. And of course, we can include a third lifestyle, which Krishna doesn't give an option of, which most people are following. 99.9% of humanity is following that lifestyle. What is that? Raga, Dvesha driven lifestyle. That is the third lifestyle, which everybody is automatically pursuing, desire fulfillment lifestyle. So I want this, I'm going to work for it, I'm going to get it, go through a lot of pain and a lot of time and energy spent in order to get it. Most people are in the third lifestyle. But here, Krishna is addressing that those who are very, discerning, they want moksha. So he says here, the sannyasi or karma yogi, I'm giving you choice, but look at it clearly. Are you ready for the sannyasi lifestyle? Are you ready for 100% time for this in this pursuit of knowledge? Are you ready to renounce all your roles? You are a married man. He's married. You have children. Are you ready to give all of that up to pursue this exclusively? Or karma yoga, which means do your duty, be in the family, be at your work, do whatever you have to do in your life, and you can still go for moksha. So what does Arjuna know? Arjuna knows that, Krishna knows Arjuna is not ready for this renunciation, because Arjuna thinks that renouncing actions is renunciation. This is the big confusion that is clarified in the third chapter, because true renunciation, is it giving up of activities, giving up of actions? So Bhagavan now starts teaching him what karma yoga really is, and he leaves the jnanam topic aside. So he won't mention this jnanam topic, because obviously Arjuna has not got these verses in the second chapter, like most people. Because, Gita begins with the bang. Pratignya, we call it, the first, everything is given immediately in the texts. Many of the texts start like that. The full knowledge is given. And then the vistara, the unfoldment starts happening. So now only karma yoga is discussed, and Krishna gives reasons. Giving up karma is not possible for anyone, not to say giving up karma is not possible for anyone, he will say in the consequent verses. And you need a certain preparation of mind for knowledge to be assimilated. It's very easy to gain knowledge. We can just sit and listen, and Tattvamasi, how many times we need to hear it? We can keep repeating it. Like Swamiji said, anuvritti we can do, of Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, but we are not, living that knowledge. So this knowledge has to become you. Every cell has to breathe Tattvamasi. So that is called assimilation. So giving up karma does not help with assimilating knowledge. Karma cannot give you direct access to liberation, but it is a means when you know how to do your activities in life. Krishna also warns in this chapter, giving up karma too early and taking to sannyasa will lead to a life of suffering. It is a great conflict for sannyasis who are not ready for this life. And there's no turning back, because once you come in this direction, there's no going backwards. At least when you're brahmachari, you can go either way. You can go family life or this life, but it's very tough. So Krishna is going to warn Arjuna that also. And karma yoga, one other factor of karma yoga that Krishna brings in is Ishvara. Where is karma yoga without Ishvara? This understanding of Ishvara is what? Ishvara, we know, is in the form of all orders that we see in this universe, including the order of karma and dharma. Ishvara is given the title Karma Diksha. Karma Diksha means the presider over activities. He witnesses every activity everywhere, including the intention. Where does he witness? Are there CCTV cameras all over the... Yes, maybe over the ashram, but Bhagavan is witnessing through others, that maybe, but he is the Antaryami. He is witnessing from within. He knows the intention. He knows the activity. So knowledge is the key. Ignorance is the issue. We know that only knowledge is opposed to ignorance. Any activity cannot remove ignorance from the mind. So activities are only a means to purify the antahkarana. So now Bhagavan explains what action and what renunciation really are. Because giving up all activities may actually lead to opposite results. So he says to him here, na karma namanarambhat naishkarmyam purushoshnute na cha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhi karmana manarambhat naishkarmyam purushaha na ashnute. Avoiding activities, your duties, does not give you moksha, is very clear. Not doing your activities or your roles well in life will not give you moksha. Naishkarmya means actionlessness. So there's words in English, I think maybe in other languages as well. This is the confusion that Arjuna really has. He has mistaken actionlessness for inaction. So actionlessness is only in Atma. So by avoiding or performing actions, Bhagavan says Naishkarmya, which is moksha, actionlessness, is never gained. So his confusion is very clear here. Actionlessness, we have to understand, is the nature of Atma. We saw in the second chapter a few verses where Krishna talked about a kartritvam or non-doership. Non-doership means what? Non-doership means there is no free will there to do. It is like you are playing a role in this room. You are identified with one particular name, form, and function. Suddenly your vision shifts to the light in the room. You recognize, I'm the light in this room. I'm the light that gives light to all activities. I'm the light that gives light to even the individual. I pervade all the individuals. Does light do anything for lighting up? Light, that is called actionlessness, naishkarmya. So in knowledge alone, there's actionlessness. But while one is identified with a particular name, form, and function, there is definitely activity. So this is what Krishna is saying. When you are acting in a movie, can you just sit and say, I'm a non-doer? Your director is directing the movie, he's already given you the script. But you say, suddenly you've studied a bit of Gita and you've understood non-doership as just not doing activity. So you just sit down. No, let others do the role. I'm just going to sit because I'm non-doer. No. Even in the drama of life, it's like that. We cannot just give up our roles. We are given roles, mother, father, husband, wife, employee, employer, so many hats we wear. Throughout one day, we're always changing our roles. I don't act the same to my daughter as I do to my husband, right? Without knowing, the I is putting on many hats during one day. So here, he says that you cannot have moksha by giving up your roles and not playing your role in the drama of life. So this is the difference. Arjuna cannot see karma, action plays a very important role in spiritual life because it is the means for antahkarana shuddhi, for purity of mind, reducing your raga dvesha, and an indirect means for moksha. So karma yoga, the problem is why karma yoga is difficult. Usually we are all karmis. Karma yoga is difficult because we can take Arjuna's example. Arjuna wants to leave the battlefield, but what is the right thing for Arjuna to do? Krishna said to fight the battle. So the karma yoga lifestyle is difficult because sometimes our likes don't match what I have to do. What I like to do may not be what I have to do. Usually I do what I like to do. Here, karma yoga says maybe you may like to do something, but what you should do is something different. That is how I reduce my likes and dislikes. I dilute them. And that is, although it is very difficult as a practice, it is not easy. It takes years to have a practice like this as well. But it makes the mind more and more calm, more steady, more accepting of life. So here he says, sannyasad eva, merely by taking to ochre robes and looking like a sannyasi, you can never be a renunciate. It is not just in the looks. Then anyone enlightened should be in orange, right? Sometimes in UK, in England, the workers, the people, construction workers, they wear orange. Are they enlightened? So just because one wears orange is not a sign for enlightenment. Naishkarmya siddhim na adhigacchati. You don't become actionless by avoiding activity. So knowledge, because knowledge, being engaged in all activities, that's really in knowledge, assimilated knowledge. Being engaged in activities, the person knows I do nothing. Because I am the light in the room, activities are happening. Even the body mind sense is witnessed, moving. Body mind senses are witnessed, acting in this world. So Naishkarmya is not absence of action. So Bhagavan explains further in the next verse. He says, Nahi kashchit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krita karyate hyapashah karma sharva prakriti jair gunaihi. Very nice verse. I call it this verse. No one can remain without activity for a second. Nobody can do that. Kashtitapi, no one on earth. Kshanamapi akarmakrit jatu tishtati. No one can sit still even for a moment. Even if you think physical action I'm not doing, oral action I'm not doing. But is mental action not happening? Is the mind totally devoid of thoughts? So we know we have three karanas at our disposal, right? We have kaikam karma, vachikam karma, manasikam karma. So definitely one of those instruments is still going on. And one action or other, there is always. So Bhagavan says here, never fool yourself into thinking that you are without activity, because involuntary action is also taking place. Breathing is taking place. Maybe after lunch, digestion is taking place. So many things, circulation is taking place. Amazing, this human form, actually, how many orders are taking place without my volition. I'm not willing it to happen. It is coming alive because of this. So he says here that you can travel around the Jagat just in your mind. You don't even need to move a muscle. You could be sitting with your eyes closed and your head could be going all over the world, going on holiday everywhere. And Prakriti, he says Prakritehe Gunehi, which means by the modifications of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So he brings that in now first in this verse, but he will talk more about it in the consequent verses of chapter 3. These gunas constitute the whole Jagat. So I know all of you have studied some Tattva Bodha and everything, so you know Sattva is the guna of knowledge, right? Of calm, of peace, quietude, balance, all the things we love. But even Sattva guna is something binding. Atma Jnanam transcends all the gunas. So gunatita. Here, Rajas drives all activity. So he says here, even if you sit still, one of the gunas is going to take you over, depending on your prarabdha. So actually, prarabdha dictates what guna is affected on you at what time. Right now, I think a lot of, tamas comes siesta, afternoon heat. Tamo guna is overtaken. It can do. I'm not saying I hope nobody is getting tamas here. So we, and sometimes I feel very calm, very peaceful. So I know, sattva guna predominant. You can also see the gunas changing within a day, we can see what gunas predominant in us. It's beautiful to see. So usually after a heavy meal and everything, tamas takes over. Nighttime, of course, tamas. And rajas during the day, running around here and there. And sattva, when I'm sitting contemplating, if there's time for contemplation, that is sattva guna. So Bhagavan says here, the gunas, whether you like it or not, you're going to be driven into activity. And even if you look at it, Ishvara, if you look at this physical form, Ishvara has designed this form for activity. Otherwise, we would have been just one blob sitting. Imagine, just all human beings are just some blob sitting somewhere without any karmendriyas to move around. We can't walk around. But look at that intelligent design. We are designed for activity. Human body is designed to act. But he says, avashaha karma karyate, helplessly, Arjuna, you will be made to do action by the gunas, whether you like it or not. And generally, the gunas will prompt you into activity due to desires arising in the mind. Because of desire alone, I act. Otherwise, I don't. So if you watch, see the mind, where is this desire? Is it a tamasic desire? Is it a rajasic desire? Is it a sattvic desire? Are we ever aware of how these desires arise? Suddenly one arises, and what happens? Without my knowledge, my body starts moving. I have to get this. I have to do that. I have to. And then suddenly if I'm lucky, the desire gets fulfilled. And for a while, I feel so nice. I'm no longer a seeker. That's what I love. No desire. Then next one comes up. I'm off again. Next activity. Whole life is like that. So we cannot escape karma. Then the question comes, what happens if I give up activities thinking I am heading for spiritual success? So he says here, Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma vidyacharasa uchyate. I call this the hypocrite verse. I love this verse because he says, Karmendriyani sanyamya, controlling all of your organs of action, controlling all of the organs of knowledge, which are the sense organs, organs of actions. Eyes are closed. I'm sitting in meditation. I'm trying my best to be a yogi. I want to be this yogi, I read about in all the literature, one with anthills growing around, that type of absorption I want. I'm sitting, ya aste, who sits like this, doing what? Indriyarthan manasa smaran, thinking of all of the objects of the world. So I'm sitting in meditation, but what comes? The latest BMW, that design address in that mall I was at the other day, all of that keeps coming in my mind. All objects of the senses keep entering my mind. I can't help it. In fact, I'm more active sitting for meditation than I am physically. So I'm more mentally active. So imagination takes over. I could be doing anything when I am with my eyes closed and my karmendriyas withdrawn. Outwardly, people may think I'm a renunciate. This is the thing. I remember somebody once, this is just an example, but not to criticize anyone, but it was quite a funny thing to witness. One yogi, he had matted locks and he had, great, we've seen a lot of jata people here with a lot of rudrakshas and, everything. And he sits right here. He used to sit somewhere here on the main place for meditation. First of all, why do you want to sit there so everybody can watch? So everybody can watch. That answers that. So people walk past, oh, great jnanis. All these projections start, people walk past, they see somebody in this attire and sitting with the eyes closed, very still. So people started leaving everything for him. And I remember, maybe he did not notice, but once I saw, him on the other side having a nice cigarette smoke on the other side of the bank, enjoying his, sense pleasures. Nothing wrong with it, but people project. When we see people like that from outside, we think, oh, this person is realized, or this person's a great yogi. How do we know what is happening in people's mind? We don't even know our own mind, let alone others. So this is the verse which really Krishna tells us, be very careful. Don't fool yourself. If you're not ready to sit still like this and withdraw yourself from all activity, there's no point sitting still and your mind being active outside. It doesn't help at all. And Krishna is very, sometimes if you see in the Gita, he doesn't mince words. We say that in English. He is quite frank and quite abrupt. He says, Mityachara. Mityachara vimudhatma. Mithya means one with a false conduct, literally hypocrite, one who is pretentious, who is being, hypocrite. So outwardly I may appear as a renunciate, but inwardly, like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to say, the three W's, wine, women, and wealth, are consuming my thoughts. Of course, for women, it's the other way as well, but he used for men. So don't live a lie, he says. Don't live a life of lie being on the spiritual path. We all have to see where we are. There's no harm. If you want, if you have desires still, if you have desires to be in the world, Shastra never denies having a full life, being in the world, enjoying these sense pleasures. If you need to do it, go through it, live through it, but do it dharmically. That is the one thing that is in all the scriptures. Dharma becomes my mark of a choice in life. So all my pursuits, arthakama pursuits, are always with the marker of dharma. So Bhagavan says, Vimud Atma, there are, a deluded, such a person is so deluded. There's no clarity in the mind. They don't know anything about the goals because mind is either in the past enjoyments or in imagining what future enjoyments could be. So he says here, this person is not Naishkarmya. He doesn't have Naishkarmya Siddhi, which is actionlessness. This person is fooling himself. So take to a life, what Bhagavan is saying, take to a life with the correct attitude that will prepare you best. The next verse now, Bhagavan says the total opposite. He says the one who can manage the senses, who lives this life of karma yoga. He says, yes, tvindriyani manasa niyam yarabhate arjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate. Yahatu, in contrast, indriyani manasa niyamya, the one who has managed the sense organs, the one who has mastered the sense organs. How? We know you have to use your willpower in spiritual life. There is nothing is going to happen automatically. So willpower, bringing that Shakti from inside. I'm not going to do it. So, you'll find people, it's interesting, even with food, you can see that, no? Food is a very good practice. The tongue wants something, but say no to the mind because the mind goes after the tongue. But you know that it is not ultimately going to be good for you. But the tongue enjoys the flavor, it enjoys the taste. Sometimes it's okay, but it's also good to say no. It's an excellent practice to say no to the mind and the senses when they go that direction. So he says here, the one who can manage his or her sense pursuits with viveka, so it's no suppression. We have to be very careful with suppression, control, and a free will involved austerity, right? Tapas. So suppression, what does suppression lead to? If I suppress the desire, it can blow up like a volcano one time or other, and I could go totally wild, sometime. So suppression is also not good. It can also lead to physical ailments when I suppress. So what Krishna is talking about is renunciation of the sense pleasures through viveka, through discriminative analysis. And there are many things in our texts which talk about the doshas of sense pleasures. So sometimes it seems, people say it's so depressing always to look at the limitations of sense pursuit. It is not to depress us. Krishna includes a value like that in 13th chapter. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Look at the limitations of birth, of death, of disease, of old age. He says this in the values section. So things are not, to depress us. It is to show us the realities of life. Have we really achieved total satisfaction from fulfilling any desire in our lives? Have we gained that total satisfaction? I don't think any of us have. Because if we had, we would not move around doing anything. I always think Ramana Maharishi, we'd be like Ramana Maharishi, absolutely no interest in anything, just happy with oneself. Atman yevatmana tushtaha. That is full, total satisfaction with oneself. But my very seeking again in life shows what? There is a dissatisfied me a lacking me that wants to go after another desire to feel full again. So here Bhagavan says, live in the world, fulfill your artha kama if you have to. Do it along with, legitimately, in line with dharma. Karmendriyehi, karma yoga arabate, but take to a life of karma yoga. Do this along with keeping moksha as your goal. Have the right attitude, the healthy attitude to life, because even this practice of this lifestyle is going to bring you peace. Even if I don't discover absolute peace in this life, if I can discover relative peace, I've already made it, right? Then if I discover relative peace in this life, Bhagavan says it's not wasted. You will carry over that. You will be born a very silent baby. You will come out. Parents will wonder, what is this baby? So quiet, so calm. Baby has already done karma yoga in past life. You will show the samskaras of samatvam, that you never lose what you have gained in past lives. This is so beautiful to know. So no life is a waste. Although we say, it's, oh, another life. I sometimes say that myself, oh, another life waste, just to encourage people to, get up and make it in this life itself. But no life is a waste. Krishna says that very clearly. You always pick up thread. He will make sure you will find a good birth, next birth. He will make sure you hear Bhagavad Gita next birth. He will make sure that interest develops next birth. So you will pick up from where you have stopped in the past life. So karma yoga is not a wasted lifestyle. It's good to take to it. He says here, asaktaha, don't be overly concerned over the karma phalam. He uses this word a lot, asaktaha. Asaktaha means don't be overly consumed by what is going to happen to you. Because the real renunciation is what? Not this sannyasa. It is what I feel. Real renunciation is karma palatyagi. The one who can give up the fruits of action is the real sannyasi, is the real renunciate. It is not an easy thing to do. And what does it mean to, give up the fruits of action? We saw already in the second chapter, Krishna had introduced it. It is to accept what is in life. What is Ishvara for us. What is manifesting as Ishvara's order for us. The pleasant situations are Ishvara. The unpleasant situations also Ishvara. Pleasant if I always crave for, will I ever grow in life? We don't look at that. We will never grow in always pleasant. You can imagine, we'll get bored with pleasant. Sometimes we may think, oh my God, always pleasant. Why am I not having anything unpleasant? Why should we? Because human mind is getting bored with certain situations. So you get pleasant. So it is in the duals that we grow. So that's why this whole life is actually a school. It's a training ground. We are born into the school of life to learn these teachings of samatvam, of learning to accept with equanimity, with seeing that everything is going to come and go. Second chapter, he's already told us, Matra sparshastu kaunteya, shitoshna sukha dukkadaha, agamapayino nityaha, tan stitikshasva bharata. He's already told us everything is going to come and go. Is anything going to last forever? You may feel there's an unpleasant situation. Why is it always like this? Every day you wake up in anxiety and stress, strain. How am I going to face another day? How will I go through this? But if you bring up this verse, agama apayinaha, it's going to go. And nothing is going to last forever. So this is not being attached to the karma phalam. One has to see that life is fleeting before you know it. Where the body is 80, body is, already that age. Before we know it, we are also gone. So here, Bhagavan is saying, Saha Vashishyate, the one who lives this type of lifestyle, this karma yoga lifestyle, is far more superior to all. So Bhagavan is praising now Karma Yoga. He is emphasizing this lifestyle because for Arjuna and for the majority of humanity, this is the way to be. We cannot all run away from our duties. We cannot run away from our households because that is also, leaving everything behind. That is also papa karma if one is not ready. Some people may get disgusted, jihasa vairagya it's called. So you have two types of vairagya, dispassion. Jihasa vairagya is, oh, my wife is too naggy. I've had enough of it, Children they're not helping me at all. They don't care about me. They don't love me. So you're disgusted with the world. And I want to go to Himalayas. I'm going to go and I'm going to renounce the world because this life is not up to your likes. That vairagya, will it ever work? It won't work. Why? Because the mind is there. Even Swamiji used to say, even if you have that vairagya, you take a train to Rishikesh. You're saying, I'm going to Rishikesh, I'm going to Himalayas, I'm going to leave the life. All the relations, all the people you thought are being left behind are actually traveling with you without a ticket. They're all in your mind. They're going up with you, carrying everybody in your mind, and you're going to sit in the mountains and meditate. Is it possible? So jihasa vairagya never works. Vairagya only works when you have seen the limitations of what life can give for yourself. When you have seen means when you have experienced enough of life, not reading books about it, not reading Gita translations. That's why, it's good to go through a lot of experiences. In Mundaka Upanishad, that verse, that mantra is there, Pariksha Lokan Karma Chittan Nirvedamayat Brahmanaha. Nirvedamayat Brahmanaha means dispassion comes to one when? Pariksha Lokan. Beautiful. After having pariksha, after having seen what? Lokan here means all that is to be experienced. So Upanishad itself says experience everything that is to be experienced. Nothing wrong. Have the experience of everything. See the limitations of what the world and other lokas. Lokan means not just this jagat. If you feel like going to heaven, go for it. Holiday out, Swamiji used to say. Have a holiday out in the Holiday Inn. There's a hotel called Holiday Inn. So have a holiday out in the Holiday Inn, and then you'll come back. Come back to this, again, you come back to this bhuloka, and you have to go through another life, going through the same desire, fulfilling, pop off, another birth. So this whole cycle, the discerning one wants to get out of. One time or other, that discernment has to come anyway. Whether you have, like that Swamini was saying, whether you have 10 lives or 20 lives or crores of lives, one time or other, that has to come. And for the one who's come, this karma yogi, Bhagavan says, Saha Vishishyate. This karma yoga is far superior to any other practice, far superior to the mithyachara, the hypocrite in the previous verse as well. Do activity in the world, do your duty, play your roles, play them well, learn to grow in your roles. Yes, there will be falls. No life is immune of falls. You may get angry. People may push your buttons. Anything can happen in Vyavahara. We know that. We are not, all human means Mishra. We should all have the surname Mishra. Mixture of Punya and Papa. Mishra means mixture. So we are all walking, talking Punya Papa people, right? So we have things that we carry with us. We can't help. So we may fall. We may fall in our interactions, but we grow through fall. Once you see, more and more Vedanta you study along with living in the world, the life becomes easier and easier. You become more and more free inside, more space. If you do Atma Jnana Shravanam at that, during this time, then that knowledge blesses, it stays, and finally the vision shifts, right? Slowly, growing clarity is the shift of vision. So when I leave the Jagat, I should leave with a bye-bye, happy. I'm happy. I lived a full life, tata. Like a Gnani has no problem dropping, Tattva Bodha, if you remember the final verse, he can drop his body at Kashi which is considered a great place to leave your body, or he can drop his body in a dog eater's home. He is not worth it because this is just costume you wear. It is not you. You are a spiritual being having a human experience, not a human being having spiritual experience. So that is always what we remember. Let us discover, use the life given, the breaths that are given, which are all counted, to discover this spiritual conscious being that we are, which is also one with every other being and also one with this universe. So we will see more elaborately Karma Yoga in the next verses. Krishna will be emphasizing this a lot in the third chapter. Okay. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Hari Om. Namaste.